Have you ever felt overwhelmed by your emotions, struggling to find peace in life's chaos? Do you wish you could handle life's ups and downs with more calm and clarity? If these questions resonate with you, you're in the right place. This Stoic guide is more than just a video. It's a journey that could transform your perspective on life forever. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy, teaches us the power of mastering our emotions and embracing acceptance of what we cannot change. But knowing these principles isn't enough. The real magic happens when we apply them daily. Repeating Stoic principles to yourself isn't just an exercise in memory. It's a practice that builds mental resilience, clarity, and a profound sense of peace, no matter what life throws your way. By listening to this video, you're not just listening, you're taking the first step towards a life where your emotions no longer control you, but you understand and manage them. You're in the perfect place if you're ready to see life through a new lens. This guide isn't just about learning, it's about transforming. Welcome to a new chapter in your life, where the Stoic way becomes your way to a more peaceful, controlled, and meaningful life. Stoicism stands out as a leading light of ancient wisdom that can help us weather life's storms with unwavering serenity in a world where relentless outward chaos constantly threatens our inner peace. This old philosophy, not as a set of beliefs but as a way of life, gives us deep reasons to practice self-control and restraint, so that our actions are not driven by the relentless search for praise from others, but by a strong dedication to virtue and self-control. Here are 9 reasons from the core of Stoicism that make us think very carefully about how smart it would be to spend less time with the outside world and more time with the universe inside us. First, the power of silence, a saying that takes us straight to the writings of Seneca, one of the most important Stoicism thinkers. Speak only when your words are stronger than silence. This wise saying makes us think about the strength not of what is said, but of what is chosen to be unsaid. There's something very strong about that choice, a strength that goes beyond the mere economy of words and gets to the heart of what it means to speak. Take a moment to picture the scene. The world is full of words, sounds, and noise that don't always mean anything. Then there is silence, which is not an empty space, but a space full of possibilities. When there is quiet, you can really listen. When we stop to listen to silence, though, what do we hear? The answer takes us deep inside. Not only should we listen to what others don't say, but also to the almost imperceptible words of our own inner wisdom. That soft voice that is often drowned out by the day's chaos, but holds deep truths about who we are and what matters to us. Seneca's wisdom shows us that real speech is not having a lot of words, but knowing when and what to say. That's where the real power lies, in the choice between saying and being quiet. Because when we choose quiet, we also choose to listen, think, and finally understand. But what makes this so strong? Because when we are quiet, we make room for our minds to go to places that talking would never let us reach. When we are quiet, our thoughts can disconnect from the outside world and go inside to explore the vast spaces of our own consciousness. Now think about how this habit affects our everyday lives. In a world that values constant communication and sharing of information, choosing to be quiet might seem like going against the grain, or even like a form of rebellion. But this is where we find the key to communicating in a more real, deeper, and important way. We make sure that what we say is not just knowledge, but also truth and meaning, by only speaking up when it's the right time to break the silence. So, how can we make this important practice a part of our lives? It starts with choosing to value our words so much that we don't waste them. It means getting used to silence and appreciating it, not just because there is no sound, but also because it gives you a chance to connect with something greater. The most important thing is to understand that sometimes the best thing we can do is just listen. Okay, how about we do an experiment? Let's give silence the room it needs in our lives, even if it's only for a moment. There are words of wisdom that we might hear when we finally take the time to listen. Second, the virtue of self-efficiency. As we travel through the world of words and reflection, we find a hidden gem in silence, an ancient piece of wisdom that has been passed down through the years with the eloquence of what isn't said. Speak only when your words are stronger than silence. This pearl of wisdom, which sounds like it came straight from Seneca's lips, guides us to a deeper understanding of the power that lies in saying less. But what does this saying really tell us? In a world where constant noise and a flood of information can drown us, silence rises not just as the lack of sound, but as an inner refuge, a holy place where our deepest sense of wisdom can finally be heard. We can give our words more weight by accepting silence. This weight comes from meaning, not quantity. When there is silence, we can really hear not only what is said between other people's words, but also the soft sounds of our own inner being, that information that is dormant and waiting for the right time to come to the surface. We come across the idea of self-sufficiency as we continue our introspection. Epictetus, with his unmatched wisdom, shows us that this virtue is the key to true happiness and freedom. What does it really mean to be self-sufficient, though? It's more than just not needing other people to be happy and satisfied. It's an inner trip, a process of finding where we learn to nurture a steady happiness that isn't affected by what other people think or what happens in our lives. As we spend less time around other people's opinions, we build up an inner fortress, a kind of armor that shields us not only from criticism, but also from the pull of praise. We are strong right now, like ships with strong anchors that can handle the roughest storms without going off course. So, becoming self-sufficient isn't a trip that you go on by yourself. It's a celebration of how we can find everything we need to live a full and worthwhile life within ourselves. We are asked to think about the meaning of our lives by connecting the lessons of the power of silence with the virtue of self-sufficiency. Reflections like these aren't just mental tasks. They're calls to deep change, where we learn to value what we hear and understand more than what we say. We learn about ourselves and the way to a life of greater purpose, freedom, and genuine happiness in this holy place of thought and quiet. I invite you to join me on this trip of discovery, where each step in silence and each moment of being self-sufficient gets us closer to a deeper understanding of who we are and what's important. May this road give us the strength to be truly free, not just from chains outside of us, but also from the ones we put around ourselves. Third, the importance of self-control. As we continue to dig deeper into the depths of Stoic wisdom, we find the principle of self-control, which is a gem of great value. What matters is not what happens to us, but how we react to it. This saying, which has been around for a long time, perfectly captures the spirit of self-control, showing it not only as a skill, but also as a power that can change our lives. By becoming more self-aware, we understand that real power is not about being able to control outside events, but about being able to control how we respond to them. The world around us is full of storms, hurdles, problems, and things that make us think. Self-control, on the other hand, teaches us how to build an imaginary wall that shields us not only from bad things that happen, but also from our own irrational wants. Cutting down on our exposure to outside stimuli doesn't mean avoiding life or its pleasures. It just means being more careful and aware about what we let affect us. By doing this, we start to improve our reflexes, making quick instincts into answers that are well thought out. Every time we have a choice, it's a chance to be more moderate, take a deep breath, and pick an answer that fits with our core values and the kind of person we want to be. We can handle the ups and downs of life with serenity and stability when we exercise self-control. Self-control teaches us more than just how to control our impulses. It teaches us how to dance with life, to move smoothly between extremes. We find joy and peace not in the lack of difficulties, but in our ability to face them with honesty and wisdom. This is where self-control comes in as an important link between lessons on the power of silence and the virtue of being able to take care of yourself. It holds us between our inner knowledge and how we present ourselves to others in a measured and peaceful way. When we learn self-control, we not only take charge of our own lives, but we also become examples for those around us, showing them that even when things are bad, they can choose peace and calm. So, let this idea of self-control make us think about how we act and what we choose. It should make us want to find the strength to change not only how we react to the world, but also how we live in it. May we learn that real freedom comes from being able to control ourselves and picking the road that leads to serenity and personal growth, not from being able to control everything around us. Fourth, the wisdom of inner reflection. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, sticks out in the background of Stoic philosophy not only because he was emperor, but also because he was very wise. His advice to look inside ourselves for peace is more than just advice. It's a call to start one of the most important journeys a person can take, the journey of inner thought. When there are a lot of outside distractions and people are always looking for new things to do, the Stoic practice of looking inward shines like a light, showing us the way to a greater understanding of who we are and the world around us. Marcus Aurelius said that inner thought is more than just thinking about yourself. It's a strong practice that lets us explore the depths of our awareness and face the most basic facts about our lives. When we put our full attention on this process, we find deeper levels of understanding that are hiding below the surface of our everyday thoughts. We learn that inside of us is a fortress of serenity, a safe place where outside disturbances can't get in. We are led on this inner journey by the light of reason and the need to be real. When we do inner thought, we have to question not only what we think and believe, but also why we do the things we do. In this way, we start to tell the difference between what is temporary and what is permanent, between short-term pleasures and the timeless truths that give our lives value. This understanding helps us make decisions that are more in line with our core values, which leads to a life with more purpose and satisfaction. Therefore, inner thought is a serious exercise that can be used to gain power. It tells us not to just watch life happen, but to be aware of it and be able to change our future with wisdom and insight. By developing this habit, we not only increase our capacity for joy, thanks, and peace, regardless of external situations, but also improve our resilience in the face of difficulties. From the power of silence to the virtue of self-sufficiency, the wisdom of inner thought is an important link in the chain of Stoic principles we look at. Each of these lessons, from the importance of self-control to the practice of inner thought, asks us to look inside ourselves and see the benefits that are already there. Marcus Aurelius tells us that we can find calm and clarity within ourselves even when things are going crazy around us. So, when we think about these lessons, we are moved to set aside some time each day for quiet reflection and the inner conversation that ties us to our core and the deep flow of life. As we look for peace, truth, and understanding, may the wisdom of inner thought show us that the greatest prize we can find is not in the faraway reaches of the outside world, but in the depths of our own being that we have not yet explored. Remember to leave a review if you're liking it, so we know you're on track with your goal and to help our community. Say thank you if you don't have anything to say. Let's keep going. Fifth, the value of being real. The fabric of the ideas that guide our lives shows that the wisdom of self-reflection shines with a special brilliance. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, called us to think about ourselves. He tells us to go deep into our own thoughts, to find serenity in his meditations. As the world around us is full of things that try to take our attention away, the Stoic practice of looking inward becomes a lighthouse that leads us to real discoveries about who we are and our place in the universe. So, internal reflection isn't just a way to train your mind. It's a brave quest for the truth. When we disconnect from the noise around us and connect with our inner selves, we start to understand eternal truths about our lives, truths that don't change, even though the world is always changing. This search for understanding not only makes us stronger in hard times, but it also shows us the way to a happier, more useful life. As we move forward on this path, we can't deny how important sincerity is. Stoic beliefs tell us to take off the masks and show who we really are, to act in line with our core values instead of giving up and constantly trying to please other people. To live an honest life is to be brave. It means putting your honesty ahead of temporary approval and not putting on the masks that society offers in exchange for temporary approval. We can stay true to ourselves even when life's storms try to throw us off course, because this authenticity is our shield against shallowness and lies. Not only do we find inner peace when we live an honest life, but we also become examples of truth and ethics for others, encouraging them to find their own true character. This is how the wisdom of introspection and the value of being true to yourself become one, creating a rich fabric that wraps us in the promise of a life lived with purpose and depth. Even though these Stoic ideas are very old, they still speak to us today, telling us to stop, think, and choose a road with more meaning and character. So, with the strength of self-control, the courage of self-sufficiency, and the serenity of silence, I ask you to start this trip of self-discovery. May we all delve into the depths of our own natures together and discover the peace, freedom, and joy that come from living a truly honest life. Socratic philosophy gives us many pearls of wisdom, but the serenity of acceptance is one of the most important ones. There is a lot of power and meaning in the simple phrase, "Accept what you cannot change." It asks us to do one of the hardest and freeing things we can do, figure out what we can change and what we have to accept without resistance. By making this important difference, we can move our attention from things outside of our control, like weather and random events, to things we can control, like our own actions, emotions, and how we feel about life's events. Putting our energy into things we can change not only makes the best use of what we can do, but it also helps us find inner peace. As we learn to accept the way things are and the ups and downs of life, we learn to flow with the rivers of fate instead of fighting their currents. This acceptance is not a lackadaisical giving up. It is a choice to accept life as it is and find beauty and lessons in even the worst things that happen. We free ourselves from the chains of anger and stress by doing this, and deep serenity settles into our hearts. So, the serenity of acceptance is a crucial structure in the construction of a healthy and fulfilling life. Self-control, internal thought, sincerity, and self-sufficiency all fit in well with it. Together, they make up a collection of traits that show how to live a smarter and more fulfilling life. We are asked to think about both the weather we are facing and the nature of the ship that is us on this trip. We strengthen the structure of this vessel by nurturing the serenity of acceptance, making it stronger and more resilient to rough seas, always with the bright star of Stoic wisdom guiding it. As a result, May the serenity of acceptance encourage us to look inside and outside ourselves with understanding eyes and an open heart, realizing what we can change and accepting with ease what we cannot. This will help us understand that real peace doesn't come from not having problems, but from being able to deal with them calmly and bravely. The seventh power is the power of resilience. As we go through the sometimes rough seas of life, we often face events that test our inner peace and strength. In this situation, Stoic wisdom is a valuable guidance that can help us get through these storms. It stresses the value of inner strength and acceptance as building blocks for a happy and peaceful life. The strong Stoic motto, "Accept what you cannot change," captures the serenity of acceptance. It is a simple but deep statement that asks us to see the difference between what we can change and what we cannot. By recognizing this difference, we can focus on changing our own behaviors and attitudes instead of trying to change things that can't be changed. The key to gaining permanent peace, a state of serenity that comes from not being passive but consciously accepting the normal run of things, is this emphasis on self-management, on controlling our own actions and behaviors. Stoic thought also gives us the capacity for resilience, enabling us to deal with difficulties with courage and honor. Stoics teach us that true inner strength comes from being independent and having faith in our own abilities to deal with problems. They do this by telling us to limit our exposure to other people's opinions and demands. This resilience doesn't mean denying pain or suffering. It means facing them head-on, knowing that our core stays the same, even when the outside world is rough. Despite being old, these lessons are still useful today because they give us the means to live a peaceful and strong inner life. We become lights of stability and serenity for those around us by practicing acceptance and building our resilience, which helps us not only manage the ups and downs of life more easily. Because of this, I want each of you to think about these Stoic ideals and use them in your own life. May the serenity of acceptance and the fortitude of resilience be our compass, showing us how to handle everything life throws at us with grace and respect. So, may we not only get through hard times, but also come out of them smarter, stronger, and happier, truly masters of ourselves and the art of life. Eighth, the clarity of purpose. Clarity of purpose is one of the most important ideas in Stoic thought. It can help people who are looking for a worthwhile life. This direction isn't just a goal to be reached. It's a compass that helps us stay focused on what's important, even when we're distracted or spread out. Having a clear sense of purpose gives our trip direction, a meaning that goes beyond the small things that happen every day and lifts us above the changing seas of public opinion. A smart way to keep our energy up and our minds sharp is to follow the Stoic practice of avoiding needless exposure. These days, too much exposure on social media and the constant need for approval from others can make it hard to see clearly. However, choosing a life with more privacy and self-reflection can help us focus our inner resources on our real interests and callings. This is not a call to be alone. It's a challenge to be picky about where and how we spend our time and energy. To keep going after our goals with unshakable determination, we need more than just discipline. We need to know what drives us in the deepest way. A clear purpose gives our actions strength and power that can help us get through things that seem impossible to overcome. This purpose isn't found in the short-lived praise of other people, but in the quiet of introspection, in the holy place where we talk to our truest selves. So, having clarity of purpose isn't just a Stoic goal, it's a way of life, a choice to live in an honest and purposeful way. We build a strong base for a life of joy and happiness by being clear about what we want to achieve, who we want to be, and how we want to change the world around us. Let us now take a moment to think about our sense of purpose. May this time of thought help us understand our true goals better and motivate us to act with conviction and bravery. The first step toward a life that is not only worth living, but also leaves a legacy of ethics, love, and resilience, is to embrace the certainty of purpose. Ninth, the freedom of detachment. Although Stoic philosophy has a lot to teach us, the clarity of purpose and the freedom of detachment stand out as the most powerful ideas that can change the way we live. In its own way, each one makes us think about the decisions we make and how we deal with the difficulties of life. Clarity of purpose is more than just a map. It's the lighthouse that guides us on our trip and helps us see past storms and short-term obstacles. It gives us unshakable determination that leads our actions and choices when we have a clear sense of purpose. This drive pushes us to stay away from things that take away from who we are and take our attention away from our most important goals. You can take confident steps and make choices that show how deeply you care about your ideas when you have a clear purpose in life. The freedom of separation, on the other hand, teaches us to let go of results, give up the false sense of control, and accept life's normal ups and downs. This lack of attachment is not apathy. It's a deep acceptance of how everything changes over time. We can free ourselves from the weight of expectations and find freedom in the present moment by letting go of outward approval and fleeting wants. This freedom lets us enjoy every moment of life without worrying about what we might lose or wanting more. Being in a state where nothing can upset the peace of our minds is the highest form of inner peace. Clarity of purpose and freedom of separation work well together in this situation, creating a whole that helps us live our lives honestly and with joy. We make room for grace and serenity into our lives by accepting our true calling with unwavering determination and letting go of our connection to results. Therefore, let us pause to think about these Stoic ideals and how they show up in our own lives. May we be inspired by having a clear purpose and being free to be detached, and may they lead us to a more important and satisfying life. Let's find the real meaning of happiness by being free to be ourselves in every moment of our lives, without any shame or guilt. People have been trying to figure out the secrets of the mind for hundreds of years. While real mind reading may still be hard to achieve, the old Stoics can help us understand others better. This section goes over 12 lessons from Stoic thought that will help you understand and connect with the people around you better. 1. Develop understanding by separating yourself from others. Stoic philosophy says that to understand other people, you need to find a balance between love and distance. Stoicism tells people to become more empathetic by putting themselves in other people's shoes and feeling what they feel and seeing things from their point of view. Another unique thing about the Stoic way of thinking is that it stresses the importance of separation, which means staying away from other people's emotional upheaval. In order to develop empathy through separation, people must first understand that everyone's mental environment is unique. Stoics say that we should be able to understand how other people feel, but we shouldn't let their feelings affect how we feel. People can help and understand others without putting their own mental health at risk by keeping a healthy distance. This lesson's Stoic methods include mindfulness exercises that help people notice and accept other people's feelings without getting too involved. It means carefully listening to other people's worries, recognizing how they feel, and giving support while avoiding taking on their mental loads. The Stoic idea of amor fati, which means love of fate, also comes into play here. People learn to accept other people's feelings and situations without judging or fighting them, which leads to a deep and real relationship. People can handle difficult interpersonal situations with grace by developing empathy through distance, understanding others without letting their own emotional resilience suffer. This lesson lays the groundwork for the next ones in mind, reading skill, making it possible to understand others in a fair and understanding way. Stoic techniques help people show kindness while keeping their minds in balance. This helps people make important links in a world full of different emotional experiences. 2. Learn how to listen actively. In the quest to learn mind reading, the Stoic practice of active listening stands out as a key way to deeply understand other people. Active listening, on the other hand, is a deliberate and involved process in which you fully connect with the speaker's words, both spoken and unsaid. Stoicism, which places a strong focus on virtue and wisdom, is a perfect fit for careful attention. As the Stoics said, the best ways to learn are to carefully observe and ask thoughtful questions. These ideas are similar to the art of active hearing. To practice active hearing, you must first shut down your own thoughts and feelings that are distracting you, making room for real understanding. According to Stoic philosophy, people should practice mindfulness so that they can be fully present in the present moment, without being sidetracked by ideas they already have or the urge to think of answers before they are needed. In the Stoic philosophy, careful listening also means committing to understanding. People can connect with others more deeply and appreciate the richness of different experiences by genuinely trying to see things from their point of view instead of forcing their own right away. People who were Stoic knew that words had power and that hearing carefully could lead to new ideas. Stoic philosophy includes the Socratic method, which says to ask careful questions to get the other person to say what they're thinking. This leads to a deeper conversation that goes beyond simple knowledge. Third, see the difference between two types of control. On the path to mastering mind reading, the Stoic concept of recognizing the duality of power becomes one of the most important lessons for getting to know other people. The Stoics thought that life could be broken down into two groups: those things we could control and those we couldn't. Using this divide to look at how we connect with other people gives us deep insights into why they do the things they do. Stoicism tells people to focus on their own reactions and attitudes instead of trying to change the way other people act, think, or feel. This lesson stresses how important it is to know the difference between what we can control and what we can't. This helps us understand others in a more complex and caring way. People can handle their relationships with others in a humble and accepting way if they understand the two types of power. Stoicism teaches that trying to control outside factors, like other people's thoughts and actions, only makes you stressed out and let down. It's now more important to work on developing traits like patience, tolerance, and understanding. More than that, this lesson makes people more empathetic toward others, realizing that everyone is on their own path and facing their own problems. Letting go of the need to control outside factors lets you connect with others with real interest and openness, which leads to a better knowledge of the complicated factors that make up each person's world. 4. Learn how to communicate without words. Stoic thought puts a lot of weight on learning how to communicate without words in order to become good at reading minds. Stoics know that communication with others is more than just words. Movements, facial expressions, and body language add a lot to the experience. Stoicism tells people to pay close attention to silent cues because they can tell you a lot about how other people are feeling and what they want. A Stoic person tries to understand the hidden meanings behind motions because they know that actions speak louder than words a lot of the time. People who want to learn how to communicate without words need to become more aware of their surroundings. To do this, You have to be in the present moment and pay attention to the subtleties of other people's actions and facial expressions. Stoic techniques for mindfulness that focus on being fully present in the present moment help build this skill. Stoicism also agrees with the idea that body language and other unconscious cues are universal and can be used across cultures. People can communicate better and understand each other better, even if they don't speak the same language or come from the same culture, by noticing the small signs that others send. Also, the Stoic idea of self-control is very helpful for figuring out what people are saying without them saying it. People can better figure out what others are really saying through body language and facial movements if they can control their emotions and resist judging them right away. This can help them gain a deeper understanding of the human experience. Build mental resilience. Number 5. The Stoic principle of building emotional resilience stands out as a key part of knowing others in the field of mind-reading expertise. Stoicism says that people can deal with the complicated feelings of others by building a strong and resilient mind. This lets them connect with them more deeply. Stoics know that problems and mental difficulties will always be a part of life. The focus is on building mental resilience, or the ability to handle setbacks with grace and keep your inner peace, rather than giving in to the chaos of outside events. Before people can use this Stoic lesson to better understand others, they need to understand that feelings are temporary. Stoicism teaches that feelings come and go and are often caused by things outside of one's control. By realizing that things change, people can be more patient and understanding with other people's feelings. In this lesson, the Stoic habit of picturing bad things happening is useful. By thinking about possible problems and challenges, people mentally get ready for them. This builds resilience, which includes the ability to understand and care about others who are having a hard time. The Stoic idea of the inner fortress adds to the idea of keeping a stable core even when things are going crazy around you. People are encouraged by this concept to build up their mental strength so that they can deal with other people's feelings without getting pulled away by them. 6th, learn to observe your mind. In the quest to learn mind reading, the Stoic lesson of practicing thoughtful observation stands out as a strong way to get to know other people better. Stoicism tells people to improve their ability to observe, which makes them more aware of both the outside world and the subtleties of how people act. People need to develop a stronger sense of present in order to practice mindful observation. Being fully present in the present moment without any thoughts or worries is what Stoic mindfulness means. By focusing on the present, people can carefully notice the little things in their environment and how other people act. According to Stoic thought, this practice is more than just looking at things. It includes being aware of the world in all of its parts, such as hearing, smelling, and touching. People can get a better sense of the situation in which human relations happen by using all of their senses. Stoicism also says that careful observation means not judging right away. People are told to keep an open and curious mind instead of building views quickly based on surface observations. This helps you understand other people better by letting you see their complexity and depth, which are hard to see at first glance. Self-observation is also part of the Stoic method of mindfulness. People can learn a lot about their own biases and assumptions by thinking about their own feelings, ideas, and actions in different scenarios. Being self-aware makes it easier to connect to others in a way that shows care and understanding. 7th, be patient and understanding. The Stoic lesson of practicing patience and forgiveness is one of the most important things you can learn to fully understand and care about other people. Stoicism, which focuses on virtue and self-control, helps people learn the virtues of patience and forgiveness so they can deal with the complicated nature of people. In the setting of Stoicism, Patience means being able to handle problems and failures with a calm and collected attitude. To use this virtue to understand other people, you have to deliberately slow down your judgment and be ready to give people time and space to talk about their complicated feelings and thoughts. Another important Stoic virtue is tolerance, which means understanding that people have different thoughts, beliefs, and actions without passing judgment or being biased. Stoicism teaches that developing patience helps people approach others with an open mind, which leads to a better understanding of different points of view. In this lesson, the Stoic idea of the reserve clause comes in handy. People can use patience and tolerance as a preventative measure to make it easier to deal with the unknowns of social relations by preparing their minds for the chance that things and exchanges may not go as planned. Additionally, Stoicism tells people to see tough situations as chances to grow as people. By looking at things from this point of view, you can turn times of argument or trouble into chances to learn and understand, which can help you develop an attitude of always getting better. Eighth, know how your views and ideals affect your life. To become a great mind reader, the Stoic lesson of knowing how beliefs and values affect behavior gives you deep insights into how other people think and act. Stoicism says that people's thoughts and actions are shaped by their core beliefs and values, and that by figuring out these basic ideas, one can better understand these people. To put this lesson into practice, people need to be genuinely interested in the beliefs and ideals that guide those around them. Stoicism encourages people to ask questions with an open mind, which lets them have deep talks that reveal the basic ideas that shape other people's views. Stoic philosophy says that people's views and ideals guide them through the complicated things that happen in life. By understanding how important these driving principles are, people can deal with other people with respect, knowing that different ideas often lead to different worldviews. Also, the Stoic habit of thinking about your own views can help you understand other people better. By reflecting on themselves, people can find their biases and preconceptions. This makes it easier to approach people with different views with openness and respect. The importance of wisdom to Stoics is very important to this lesson. People can improve their ability to connect on a deep level by finding wisdom through knowing other people's views and values. This goes beyond simple conversations and creates relationships that have more meaning. 9. Use the process of Socratic questions. In order to become good at reading minds, the Stoic lesson of using the Socratic method gives us a strong way to have thoughtful, helpful conversations that help us understand others better. This method comes from the Socratic practice that Stoics follows. It pushes people to ask deep questions that reveal how complicated other people's thoughts and beliefs are. The Socratic asking process is a planned and organized way to ask questions. No one jumps to conclusions or passes judgment. Instead, people genuinely explore ideas, which lets the talk flow naturally. This fits with Stoic ideas that stress the importance of seeking wisdom and understanding through deep conversation. To use this lesson, people need to keep an open and curious mind. Being humble, a Stoic virtue, is very important because it helps people go into talks knowing that they might not know all the answers. People who use a Socratic method make room for each other to learn, which helps them connect more deeply with the people they interact with. Stoicism pushes people to ask deeper questions about other people, to find out what they really believe and why they do the things they do. This not only helps people see things from different points of view, but it also encourages the sharing of ideas in a friendly and cooperative way. 10. Adopt sympathetic Stoicism. The Stoic lesson of accepting sensitive stoicism shows how to combine kindness and resilience in a way that works well for mind-reading mastery. To keep your inner peace despite the chaos around you is what Stoicism is all about. But this lesson adds a more complex level by telling people to combine Stoic principles with real care when they are dealing with others. To become a compassionate Stoic, one must first be aware of the feelings of those around them without letting them get overwhelmed by problems in the outside world. Stoicism teaches us that we can't change how other people feel, but we can change how we react to their feelings. This means recognizing other people's feelings with kindness while keeping your own emotions in check. One idea that Stoics believe in is oikeiosis, which means a natural desire to care for others. Between Stoic resilience and knowing empathy, this concept serves as a link. By realizing that we are all human and linked, people can develop a greater sense of understanding and form ties that go beyond simple exchanges. Stoicism that encourages empathy also tells people to help and understand others without putting their own health at risk. It means genuinely trying to see things from other people's points of view, recognizing their problems and helping them when it's appropriate. This is in line with Stoic values like kindness and compassion for others. To be empathetically Stoic, you need to follow the Stoic practice of seeing problems as chances to grow. People can get through the complicated world of relationships with purpose and care if they see their interactions with others as chances to learn and grow together. 11. Show respect and gratitude. On the path to mastering mind reading, the Stoic lesson of practicing thanks and respect stands out as a life-changing way to get to know other people better. Stoicism says that by practicing thanks, people can not only make their own lives better, but also learn to deeply value the experiences and points of view of those around them. In a Stoic setting, people are told to think about the good things about their relationships with others as a way to practice thanks and respect. This entails recognizing the values, skills, and distinctive characteristics that each person brings to the patchwork of human encounters. 12. Constantly thinking about yourself. To become an expert at mind reading, the Stoic lesson of constant self-reflection is the most important thing to do. It tells people to keep looking at their ideas, actions, and relationships with other people. Stoicism says that being able to truly understand other people is closely linked to a lifelong process of learning about and improving oneself. Stoics say that people must set aside time to think about themselves every day in order to practice continuous self-reflection. This means looking closely at your responses, biases, and ideas in different social settings in order to find ways to grow and improve yourself. What if you could turn your biggest problems into your biggest successes? The answer lies in a philosophy that is more than 2,000 years old. Instead of being angry or hopeless about your problems, picture meeting them with calmness, clarity, and the power of a fighter. It's not just about getting past problems, it's about changing the way you live your life, finding peace in the middle of chaos, and being strong when things go wrong. Now we're going to get to the heart of Stoicism, an old theory that can change your life like it did for Marcus Aurelius, one of the best rulers of ancient Rome. Not only did he lead a kingdom, but he also learned how to live in our fast-paced world with wisdom, virtue, and serenity. A life of purpose, resilience, and happiness is what Stoicism offers as a light. Stay with me if you feel stuck and want to find a way to handle the ups and downs of life with a steady heart and a clear mind. We'll talk about how to use these ancient Stoic ideas in our modern lives in a way that changes not only how we think, but also how we live every day. Get ready to find a new level of greatness in yourself. Let's start this trip together. It's not about making big gestures one after the other. It's much more personal and, to be honest, a little less exciting than that, but in the best way possible. The story is about times when you have to choose between being angry or accepting, giving in to laziness or working toward your goals, getting sidetracked by other things, or focusing on what really matters. Just for a moment, think about how different your day would be if you decided to pay more attention to the people around you and really understand where they're coming from. When your temper is tried in traffic and you choose to take a deep breath instead of honking your horn in anger, this song is about that. Or when you know you're going to waste another hour on social media but decide to work on something that will help you reach your goals instead. It's a strong message to us that Marcus Aurelius made these small daily choices. According to Stoicism, we don't become great through big ceremonies. Instead, we become great through the small, steady choices we make every day. Having the wisdom to know the difference between controlling what we can and accepting what we can't is what Stoicism is all about. When you wake up the next morning, know that you have a choice to make. You are either getting better or worse with every move you make. This journey is beautiful because each day gives us new chances to make smart decisions, act with purpose, and live in line with the values that Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic philosophers taught us. It's not about being perfect, it's about getting better little by little. When you have a choice, ask yourself, what would a Stoic pick? This doesn't mean you have to become a philosopher king right away, or that every choice you make will be the right one. What it does mean is that you should be aware, try, and most importantly, be constant. Reflecting isn't just going over your day again and again in your mind, though that can be a part of it. To figure out why something happened, how it made you feel, and what it says about you, you have to look deeper into what happened. Being self-aware is what Stoicism is all about. Being honest with yourself is important, even if it's hard. In fact, it's more important when it's hard. You could end your day with a quiet moment by yourself instead of your phone or TV. Say you're sitting there with your thoughts or a book, and you ask yourself, how did I live today? Did you act in a way that was consistent with your values? There may have been times when you could have been nicer, patient, or more understanding. And most importantly, are there times you're proud of? This practice can completely change the way you live your life, and it only takes a few quiet moments. You have to wipe away a little more of the fog from the mirror every day until you can see yourself clearly. When you are clear about your values, you can make your deeds more in line with them. This is what it means to live a Stoic life. The beautiful thing about reflection is how simple it is. You only need to be ready to be with yourself and not bother with any practices or tools. Yes, facing your own feelings and thoughts so directly might feel strange at first, maybe even a little scary. Getting better at it takes time, like any other skill, but the knowledge you gain is well worth the work. Reflection also teaches us to be humble and kind, first to ourselves and then to others. It's simple to be harsh with ourselves when we mess up and dwell on our flaws and mistakes. But Stoicism tells us to see these times as chances to grow, not as reasons to be hard on ourselves. When we think about our day with kindness and a real desire to learn, we not only become more compassionate toward ourselves, but we also become more compassionate toward those around us. That's why I want you to use the power of thought. Do it every day as a way to find peace and time to think in a world that doesn't always feel quiet. This is a step toward not only having a more stoic attitude, but also being more grounded, focused, and in line with the person you want to be. Our lives really are like a mosaic. They're made up of exchanges with people who are as different from each other as the stars in the sky. Some people in our lives shine brightly and show us the way. Some people, well, They can be like black holes at times, testing our tolerance, patience, and ability to stay calm. Here's the thing, though. All of these people and events have something to teach us. In his great wisdom, Marcus Aurelius knew that everyone, even those who disagree with us or annoy us, is important in the big picture. It's not about lying to like everyone or not care about what they do. It's about realizing that everyone has their own road, fights, and lessons to learn. We agree with them. By accepting others, we're not okay with the way they act. We're recognizing that we're all human, that we make mistakes, and that we're all on the same path through life. Stoic acceptance is a technique that frees you. Imagine not having to worry about being judged all the time or being annoyed all the time. It's like taking off chains that you didn't even know you had on. All of a sudden, the actions of others no longer weigh you down, and you move through life with a lighter step and a better mind. Your reaction, your peace, and your inner balance are all under your control. But, and this is a big but, this doesn't mean being a wimp or blind to wrongdoing. Not at all. Stoic acceptance means picking your fights carefully. You need to know when to use your energy and deeds to make a difference, and when to let go and save your strength for when it really counts. The idea is to keep your inner peace despite the chaos going on around you, not because you don't know any better, but because you choose to. In what ways can we use this in our daily lives? Start out small. Take a big breath the next time someone cuts you off in traffic or yells at you at work. Keep in mind that their behaviors show their inner state, not yours. Don't let it go and ruin your peace. I know it's hard, but like any other skill, it gets better with practice. And the benefits, peace of mind, less stress, and a better grasp on the complicated web of human behavior, are well worth the work. We can make the world a more accepting and understanding place by adopting Stoic acceptance. It makes our own lives more peaceful too. We know that everyone is going through their own problems and learning their own lessons, just like us. We are all on the same path through life, and acceptance can help us connect, grow, and find inner peace. Every time we feel frustrated or want to complain, there is actually a chance for us to grow as people and turn a situation that seems bad into something good. I'm going to tell you something very different, but bear with me. Let's say you're late for a meeting because of traffic. There is a strong urge to start a speech of complaints. What if you saw this as a gift of time, though? You can now listen to that podcast you've been meaning to catch up on, or you could use this time to plan, think, and get ready for the day. This is what Stoicism means, making the worst things in life work for you instead of against you. This method doesn't just work for traffic jams, it can help us change how we deal with all of life's problems. If we want to do something good, we need to stop, take a deep breath, and ask ourselves, how can I use this situation to my advantage? Focusing on what we can change and letting go of what we can't is what Stoicism is all about. Even though we can't change the traffic, we can change how we react to it. But let's be clear, hiding your feelings doesn't mean you're turning times of anger into chances to grow. You can't just put on a happy face and act like everything is okay when it's not. Being honest about your anger and then picking a better way to handle it is what it means. Your question should be, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? This Stoic habit causes other things to happen. Over time, we become more resilient the more we choose to turn our problems into useful actions. Things that used to make us complain no longer bother us. We get better at changing with the times and are, yes, happy. Take a moment the next time you're about to complain. The wisdom of the Stoics and Marcus Aurelius should be remembered. You should ask yourself how you can use this to your advantage to grow. It might not be easy at first, but as you get better, life will become a set of chances, not problems. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius asks us to think about what our vows really mean. It does a lot of good. Ask yourself, does this thing I'm doing, this promise I'm making, this social media scrolling add value to my life? Or does it just take up space and make noise that takes my attention away from what's important? It's not just about getting things done. The Stoic concept of focusing on what counts is also about having a purpose. Making the choice to surround yourself with things, people, and work that are in line with your core beliefs and goals is what it means. Making sure your time on earth is spent in a way that is true to you is a sign of self-respect and respect for your time here. To make your focus an ability, you have to be very picky about where you put your attention. This selectiveness becomes your shield in a world full of distractions. It helps you make a life that feels rich, important, and in line with your true self. It means saying no, even if it's hard, to things that aren't necessary so you can say yes to things that make your life better. How do we do this, though? Start out small. Every day, start with a clear goal. What is one thing that, if you worked on it today, would bring you closer to your dream of a worthwhile life? It could be as easy as taking time to care for yourself, spend time with your family, or make work on a personal project. Remember that focusing on what matters isn't just a one-time session of cleaning. It's a daily habit of asking yourself, is this essential? And it's not just about getting rid of things, it's also about making new things. Getting rid of the things that aren't necessary makes room for imagination, desire, and joy. For things that really matter, you make room in your life. Even though Marcus Aurelius was emperor and had all the duties and distractions that come with running an empire, he was still able to focus on his Stoic beliefs and get things done. This shows us that we can always return our attention to what's important, even when we're busy or stressed. So, let's push ourselves to live like Marcus does. Let's be careful about who gets our time and attention. When you make a new promise, ask yourself, does this fit with my values? Is this going to help me live the life I want? Do not be afraid to say no if the answer is no. Remember that focusing on what's important isn't about getting more done. It's about doing the right things. You should live a life that makes you happy, not just busy, at the end of each day. It's not about leaving behind a list of chores that you've finished, but of a life well lived, full of memories and relationships that are important to you. To be truly grateful, we must see the good in our lives every day, even when things are going badly. It's about focusing on what we have instead of what we don't have. This doesn't mean avoiding our problems or acting like everything is fine. It means finding a good balance. For example, if you've had a tough day, stop and think about what you've been through. Then, make it a point to be thankful for one thing. It could be something as easy as a nice cup of coffee, a text message from a friend, or being at home. Being grateful changes the way we see things, and all of a sudden, our troubles seem a little less big and more doable. The Stoics and Marcus Aurelius both put a lot of value on virtue, which is moral greatness. It's not just nice to have virtues like honesty, courage, kindness, and ethics. They're useful tools for living a full life. They have to do with being honest with ourselves and living in line with our core ideals. Our morals get stronger every time we choose truth over lies, bravery over fear, and kindness over indifference. We develop into being more resilient, forgiving, and in line with our best selves. It's not always easy to show these qualities, especially when things are tough. Being kind when things are going well is one thing. Being kind when things are going badly, or telling the truth when it might seem easier to lie, are two completely different things. According to Marcus Aurelius, though, it's exactly when things are hard that our values are put to the test and make the most difference. How then do we incorporate the hues of virtue and thanksgiving into the fabric of our lives? It starts with a plan. At the start of each day, resolve to be thankful for something and to show at least one virtue. You might choose to focus on being kind and look for ways to be kind to yourself and others throughout the day. You could also choose to be brave and face your fears or leave your comfort zone. Don't forget that the goal is not to be perfect, but to make progress. It means making an effort every day to live by your beliefs and bring a little more color into your life and the lives of those around you. We don't just change ourselves when we show thanks and virtue. We also change how we treat the people around us. We become a source of strength and happiness, not only for ourselves, but also for other people. The thought of always learning has never been more important in today's busy world. We have access to a huge amount of information, so there's always something new to learn, find, or be amazed by. But it's not enough to just learn facts or skills. We also need to keep our thoughts open, our hearts open, and our views open. Not only do we want to improve our minds, but also our souls. We want to enjoy the thrill of finding and the growth that comes with it. We can learn something new every day, whether it's a fact, a skill, or something that helps us understand ourselves and the world around us better. It could be as easy as reading a book about something we don't know much about, listening to a show that makes us think, or even having a talk with someone who does the same thing. That's what makes the practice of always learning so exciting. It's a journey that never ends. But here's the cool part. This trip makes us humble. We understand how little we know better as we learn more. It is a lovely contradiction. Being humble like this is a key part of Stoicism. It makes us remember that we are all life students who are always changing and learning. And in being humble, we find a link with other people who are also on their own roads of finding. Accepting that we are always learning also makes us more flexible. Being able to learn, forget, and learn again is very useful in a world that is always changing. Not only do we need to keep up with the times, but we also need to lead the way and be a source of innovation, creativity, and wisdom in our communities. So, how do we start this path of learning that never ends? To begin, make the easy but strong choice to stay open. Be open to new ideas, being wrong, and the beautiful, huge complexity of life. It means setting aside time every day, even if it's only a few minutes, to keep our minds open, to learn, and to ask questions. Let's be like Marcus Aurelius and make a promise to keep learning throughout our lives. Let's see every day as a chance to learn something new and make our lives better. Let's take this trip together and encourage and inspire each other to keep learning, growing, and discovering the world's many wonders. Over and over again, Marcus Aurelius's thoughts and insights came back to the subject of forgiveness. He knew that being angry and resentful was like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. It hurts us more than it hurts them. Forgiving someone doesn't mean agreeing with their actions or forgetting the hurt they caused. It means deciding not to let those things define us or control how we feel. We can be free in a way that not many other things can. It helps us forget about our mistakes and the mistakes of others, so we can learn from them and move on without being stuck in bad feelings. It's not easy to do this, of course. It takes work to forgive someone, and the work is often long and hard. However, the benefits are huge. It gives you peace and a lightness that you can't get any other way. As important as it is to forgive others, it's even more important to forgive yourself. A lot of the time, we are the toughest judges of ourselves because we set impossible expectations for ourselves. When we fail, which we always do, we punish ourselves by thinking about what went wrong over and over again. Stoicism, on the other hand, tells us to see these setbacks as chances to grow. When we forgive ourselves, we admit that we are human and make mistakes. We also accept that each mistake is an opportunity to grow as a person. Stoics believe that we should forgive others and let them forgive us. This includes how we see and treat the world around us. When we forgive, we understand that everyone is doing their best with the information and tools they have at the moment. It helps us understand and care about other people, which connects us with them in a deep and important way. So, how can we make this freedom of acceptance a part of our everyday lives? It all starts with choosing to let go of the power that past hurts have over us. We have to change how we think about forgiveness so that we see it as a gift we give ourselves instead of something we do for other people. It means being kind to ourselves and to others, understanding that we are all on a journey and that we all make mistakes along the way. Also, it's important to understand that forgiving someone is a process that never ends. To let go of the past and welcome the present with an open heart, you need to be patient, practice, and dedicated. When we do this, we break free from anger, hatred, and bitterness. This makes room in our lives for love, joy, and peace. We can be ourselves, live honestly, and make the life we've always dreamed of here. Because life is so complicated, it's easy to get caught up in our own problems, fears, and wants. Stoicism, on the other hand, shows us a different way to find inner peace, resilience, and purpose in life. People should remember that they have the power to change their own lives and find value in even the worst situations. So, let's learn from Marcus Aurelius and the other Stoics who lived before us. Let's welcome the wisdom in what they taught us and use it in our everyday lives. Let's work on developing the traits of forgiveness, thanks, and virtue as we travel toward a life of meaning and purpose. Also, let's remember that what makes us great is not the big things we do or the important things we say, but the small, regular things we do every day. It's when you stop to think, do something nice, or choose to focus on what really counts. Take a deep breath, summon your inner Stoic, and remember that you have the power to turn even the worst situations into chances for growth and greatness the next time life throws a challenge your way. Be open to the path and the process, but most of all, be open to the person you can become. Just for a moment, imagine that the most important thing you can do to live a worthwhile, happy life isn't something you can buy, earn, or get from other people. It's already inside you, just waiting to be found and used. This isn't just a thought experiment. It's based on the wisdom of Stoicism, a theory that has helped many people develop a sense of purpose, resilience, and peace throughout history. Stoicism teaches us that the key to a good life is not praise from others or material wealth, but learning how to value ourselves through the principles of temperance, courage, wisdom, and justice. It's a strong message that even though the outside world is chaotic and hard, we have the solid basis for our own happiness and well-being inside us. We're getting rid of the layers of social standards and self-doubt to find the timeless Stoic principles that can change how we see the world and ourselves. This journey isn't just about getting better at yourself. It's also about regaining our true worth and learning how to live in line with our core values. You have come to the right place if you want to find inner freedom, resilience, and satisfaction. Let us go on this journey together and look into how the wisdom of Stoicism can help us value ourselves more than ever. We've all done it at some point or another, right? We settle and make concessions all the time, whether it's staying in a job that drains us, staying in relationships that don't make us feel better, or not going after our dreams because we're afraid. Why do we do that, though? Is it worry? Is it ease? It could be a mix of the two. Stoicism tells us that these outside things don't change our real worth, our soul. As Stoic says, what makes us unique is not where we are, but how we react to it, not whether we are in a house or a jail. It means realizing that we may not be able to control everything in our lives, but we do have complete control over how we think, feel, and act. Take a look. When we settle for less than we deserve, aren't we saying that other people and things have more power over us than we do? Stoicism tells us to question that idea. Stoicism tells us to ask ourselves, is this situation in line with my values? Am I reacting to this in a way that shows what I'm really worth? If the answer is no, it doesn't make us feel hopeless. Instead, it gives us strength. It states, look, you have the power to change your perception, to choose your response, and in doing so, to transform your reality. Remember this Stoic wisdom the next time you feel like taking less than you deserve. You are not your job title, your relationship status, or the size of your bank account. Remind yourself of this. Your worth depends on how well you can stick to your ideals and always act with courage, wisdom, and honesty, no matter what. We shouldn't blame ourselves for our problems. Instead, we should give ourselves the tools to see and take control of the things we can change. Let's not settle for less, not because we think we deserve it or are cocky, but because we know how valuable we are. The strength and resilience that come from knowing who we are and what we stand for will help us deal with the problems that life throws at us. This is how Stoics live. When we do it, we don't just live, we thrive. Stoicism, which has a deep knowledge of how people work, doesn't tell us to brag or puff up our egos. Instead, it tells us to be fair and honest about our efforts and virtues. Why? Because honoring our successes isn't just a way to feel good about ourselves. It's also a way to honor the hard work, focus, and persistence that got us there. It has to do with keeping our promises to follow through on our goals and beliefs. Let us break it down. Virtues like wisdom, courage, fairness, and moderation are at the heart of Stoicism. Most of the time, these traits are what help you reach your goals, no matter how big or small they are. To apply for that job, deal with the problems that came up, or order that room, it may have taken guts, wisdom, or discipline, a type of moderation. It's not just the result that you're undervaluing when you say your success was due to luck or that anyone could have done it. It's also the values you used to get there. In that case, how do we change this idea? How can we start to be proud of what we've done without becoming cocky? Being balanced and honest are important to the Stoic way of thinking. For the sake of the truth, not your pride, it means saying, yes, I worked hard for this. Yes, I faced challenges and overcame them. And yes, this achievement is a reflection of my effort and my virtues. Okay, now I want you to think of something new you can do. It does not matter how big or small it is. The qualities you used to get there come to mind. You might have been very disciplined. You might have been brave and left your comfort zone. To fix a problem, you might have used your wisdom. Take a moment to recognize the traits that led to the accomplishment, no matter what it is. You're not supposed to pat yourself on the back during this exercise. Instead, it's meant to help you see the truth about your character and work. Adopting this Stoic habit can change how we see our own wins and how we see ourselves. It helps us stop being fake humble and start really appreciating our own strengths and skills. It teaches us that recognizing our accomplishments is about recognizing the virtues we've displayed and the hard work we've put in, not about our egos. It happens all the time, right? Sometimes it feels noble, generous, and even brave to do things like stay late at work to help a coworker, skip your morning run to make breakfast for your family, or put your own goals on hold to help someone else's. But here's the catch. Putting other people's needs ahead of your own all the time can make you tired, angry, and lose your sense of who you are. If you try to fill cups from an empty jar, you'll get nowhere. Stoicism isn't about being cold or self-centered. Instead, it puts a lot of weight on virtue and making the world a better place. But it also shows us how important it is to take care of ourselves. Why? Because taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's what makes it possible to care for others well. Stoicism tells us that before we can help other people, we need to make sure our own physical, mental, and spiritual well-being is in good shape. Let us break this down a bit. Stoicism teaches us about the difference between what we can control and what we cannot. We are in charge of our own thoughts, ideas, deeds, and yes, even self-care. No matter how much we want it to be different, we can't directly affect the health and happiness of other people. What we can change, though, is how ready we are to help, support, and love the people around us. We need to start by taking care of ourselves. How much more gentle, understanding, and present are you for the people in your life when you're well-rested, healthy, and at peace? How can you help their health and happiness even more effectively? Mental and emotional resilience are just as important as physical health in this situation. It means having the inner strength to care about others, give them good advice, and be a source of security and strength for them. How then do we find this middle ground? How can we make sure that helping others doesn't mean we forget about our own needs? First, you have to realize that self-care isn't a nice-to-have or an aside. It's important. It means setting aside time for things that make us feel better, like working out, meditating, reading, or just being alone for a few minutes. It means being able to set limits and say no when we need to. It also means doing these things not just to treat ourselves, but because we want to be our best selves for the people we care about. You are being asked to think of one way you can put your own health first this week. It could be making a promise to go for a walk every day, making time for a sport you enjoy, or setting limits on your work hours. When you do something to take care of yourself, know that it's not just for you. It's also a way to make sure that when you do help other people, you're being your best self. Stoicism teaches us how important it is to look at ourselves with an open mind. This means being honest about our weaknesses as well as our strengths. We should not think about our worth in a selfish way, but in a fair and reasonable way. Why is it so hard for us to take compliments? Most of the time, it's because we have a skewed view of ourselves. It's possible that we're focused too much on our flaws, or we may have been taught that recognizing our strengths makes us cocky. But here's a Stoic view to think about. Being humble doesn't mean rejecting our skills. It means accepting them in a grounded and realistic way. It's about seeing ourselves as they really are, without the ego or fear getting in the way. Stoicism tells us that recognizing our skills and accomplishments does not make us less valuable. Accepting praise with grace is a good way to become more self-aware and objective. It helps us understand who we really are by allowing us to see the traits we have and the work we've put in. How can we get better at taking compliments? It starts with changing the way we think. Try to think of praise as a mirror reflecting your virtue and hard work. Instead of avoiding the truth, take a moment to think about what they said. You can practice by simply saying, "Thank you." Don't downplay or avoid the compliment. Just be thankful that it was given. Furthermore, Stoicism tells us to make the most of these times by reflecting on them. Ask yourself, what did I do to deserve this praise? How does it show my virtues and hard work? This isn't about stroking your ego. It's about recognizing the part of you that can do great things and make a difference. Have you ever been faced with a choice that seemed easy, but left you stunned and unable to make a choice? There's more going on here than just not knowing what to do. This fear of making the wrong choice is a sign of a deeper problem, a lack of trust in oneself. It's like we're standing on the edge of a diving board and looking down into the pool below. We know we need to jump, but we can't. In this fog of uncertainty, Stoicism offers a light. For us, it shows us that making choices based on wisdom and reason is more important than being sure of what will happen. Stoicism tells us that we have full control over the process of making choices, but not over how those decisions turn out. It means making decisions that are in line with our ideals, being honest, and accepting that the results, no matter what they are just the way life is. What is it that makes us afraid to choose? Most of the time, it's because we don't want to make the wrong decision, which could lead to results we see as fails or mistakes. But Stoicism asks us to change how we think about mistakes and failures. Stoics believe that every result is a chance to learn and grow. There are no mistakes, only lessons. When we look at things from this point of view, we can trust ourselves to make brave and sure choices, knowing that whatever happens will help us grow and understand more. How, though, do we learn to trust ourselves? How can we, so to speak, get better at making decisions? The first step is to accept wisdom and reason. Take some time to think about your choice before making one. When you make a choice, ask yourself, does this choice fit with my values? Am I acting with integrity? By basing your choices on your core values and reason, you can be sure that you made the choice with the best goals and knowledge you had at the time. Stoicism tells us that we should accept the results of our choices and learn from them. We can learn something from every event, even if it's not what we wanted. This is a call to think about what went well and poorly and how we can use these lessons in the future. Self-trust grows when we think about and learn from our experiences. It reassures us that we can handle the rough seas of life, make choices that are in line with our values, and learn from each one. Stoicism shows us how to make smart choices, especially about how to use our minds. It says that beating ourselves up for every mistake we think we've made is like trying to sail a ship without paying attention to the wind and tides. We have our attention on the wrong things. According to Stoic wisdom, we should understand that completeness is a lie that we can't reach. Progress, or taking steady, conscious steps toward becoming better versions of ourselves, is what we want instead. Why do we get stuck in the habit of being too hard on ourselves? Most of the time, it's because we hold ourselves to impossible standards, standards we would never hold anyone else to. We forget that part of being human is having flaws, making mistakes, and most importantly, being able to learn and grow from them. Stoicism's practice of self-compassion and the goal of progress over perfection are strong ways to fight this self-imposed injustice. From a Stoic point of view, self-compassion doesn't mean giving ourselves extra attention or making excuses for our flaws. Instead, it means being as kind, understanding, and forgiving to ourselves as we would be to a good friend. It means realizing that failures are a normal part of life and not a reflection of who we are as people. Stoics don't criticize themselves when they mess up. Instead, they ask, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? To adopt this way of thinking, we have to change how we see our journey. We are making progress with every effort, even if the results are not what we had hoped for. Our mantra will be progress, not perfection. This doesn't mean we stop trying to get better or stop caring about it. Rather, it means we work harder to get better, while having the wisdom to understand that growth isn't always straight, is full of obstacles, and is beautifully imperfect. Why does it seem so simple to compare things? Some of it comes from the fact that people naturally compare their own worth and achievements to those of those around them. However, this tendency is increased to a level that has never been seen before in the age of social media. We see images of other people's lives all the time that only show the good times and never the bad. This makes us wonder if our own experiences are worth living and what they mean. Stoicism has a powerful cure for this ill health, becoming more self-aware and thankful for our own journey. As it says, it tells us to look inward and think about our own growth, morals, and the progress we've made. Stoicism encourages the idea of inspiration over comparison rather than separation or disregard to other people. It shows us how to admire the ideals and accomplishments of others without making our own less important or less advanced. How can we use Stoic ideas to avoid falling into the comparison trap? That's why we should practice mindfulness and catch ourselves when we start to compare our behind the scenes to someone else's feature reel. It's a way to remember that social media is just a collection of carefully chosen photos and not a true picture of daily life. Second, Stoicism teaches us the importance of concentrating on our actions, thoughts, and ideals. These are the seeds that our unique trip will grow from. By focusing on growing these seeds, we learn to be thankful for our own path and see its worth and importance regardless of what other people think. Stoicism tells us to be proud of the progress we've made, the virtues we show, and the trip we're on, because it's unique to us and deserves praise on its own. It is not what happens to you that matters, but how you react to it. Epictetus, one of the best Stoic philosophers, once said. Imagine being able to use this wisdom as a shield against the chaos in the world, especially when dealing with a bully and challenging individuals. How to deal with a boss who likes to put you down, a family member who likes drama, or anyone else who seems to drain your spirit. Stoicism is the answer. The Stoics had a secret tool that helped them not only stay alive, but also stand strong in bad weather. You shouldn't fight fire with fire. Instead, you should arm yourself with Stoic wisdom to protect yourself from the evil that narcissists love to spread. Today, we're not just going over old ground. We're using Stoic ideas to deal with giants of today. Using Stoicism to get through the emotional minefields narcissists lay down, this video will show you how to not only survive, but also thrive around them. Imagine turning their attempts to make you feel bad into chances for you to grow and find peace. Let's look at these Stoic principles together if you're ready to live a life of serenity and strength despite the chaos around you. You can protect your peace and build a resilience that no narcissist can break through by learning and putting these 4 key tactics into practice. One thing I ask is that you do not skip this movie in any way. You're already different from everyone else here just by coming here. You're not here by chance. You want to change things. Let's make it happen now. Cut the ego out of as much of your life as possible. Getting rid of the narcissist from your life doesn't mean ignoring them in the hopes that they go away. It's about getting your energy back and putting it toward things that really make you happy. Think of your mind as a garden. Which would you like to water, the weeds or the flowers? When you think about what they did or said, you miss out on time to focus on your interests, dreams, and happiness. Choose to water the plants. This change won't happen right away, but every time you choose to focus on your growth instead of their drama, you're taking a step toward a better, more vibrant you. Setting limits isn't just a way to protect yourself. It's a powerful way to show that you respect yourself. It's like making the rules for a game where you're both the player and the caller. What's allowed and not allowed in your space is up to you. When the narcissist tries to cross these lines, tell them of them in a calm but strong way. It's not about getting into a fight. It's about respecting your health. This could mean turning away from things that drain you or saying no more often. It's not selfish. You have to do it. This process teaches you and those around you that you can't give up your peace. Think about this. Every mean comment or sneaky move a narcissist makes is like a rock in your shoe. It's annoying for sure. You can keep going even though it hurts, or you can stop and stretch it out. You're not ignoring the problem when you choose to lessen their effects. You're just being very strategic about how you deal with it. As Seneca said, we suffer more in our dreams than in real life. This helps us remember that our fears and hopes can make the pain we feel from dealing with a narcissist worse. Now that we know this, we can choose to focus on what we can change, how we respond, and how our emotions feel. As you go through this, know that what makes you strong is not how loud you are, but how steady your resolve is. Let go of the need to change or control the ego. This will make room in your life for what really counts. It means putting money into relationships that make you feel good, things that make you happy, and personal growth that makes you stronger. It's not just about reducing a bad impact. It's also about making the most of your own abilities. Your goals should be peace, happiness, and growth, and you are the only one who can really protect them. Embrace this road with courage and clarity, knowing that each step leads to a more resilient, satisfied you. Make them question their imagined self. It takes a light touch to get through someone's inflated sense of self-worth, especially a narcissist's. It's a tricky art, really. Think about being a detective in a world where the best tool you have is questions. You're not there to make accusations, you want to find out the truth. When you ask someone questions like, "How did you come to that conclusion?" you're not just looking for answers, you're putting them on stage where the focus shifts to them. This isn't meant to make them question their skills or accomplishments. It's just to give them a chance to really think about themselves. If you do it with interest and without judging them, it can help you gain deep insights as well. To get more in-depth, know that the core of Stoicism is to focus on what we can control. You can't change someone else, but you can change how you deal with them. Instead of rolling your eyes or getting angry when the narcissist starts their standard show of self-praise, use it as a chance to be patient and understanding. This doesn't mean you're giving up. It just means you're picking your fights carefully. They have the upper hand when you listen to their stories and ask serious questions. You don't have to play by their rules. You have to keep your inner peace and fortress strong against their ego. Putting on a mask of detached interest is your defense, not to dull their shine, but to keep it from making you blind. You are not only poking holes in their inflated sense of self-worth when you kindly question their stories, you are also strengthening your own resilience. This method isn't a straight attack on their ego. It's a graceful way to get through their beliefs. There is a way to peace in this dance of tact and understanding. You're not just getting through the exchange. You're living by turning it into a chance for both of you to grow. Understanding how to bring about change through thought, not pushback, is what real wisdom is all about. Remember that changing the ego is not the goal. That would be too hard for most people. To change how their story affects your world, though. This modest but powerful approach comes from the Stoic art of prosos, which means awareness with attention. When you look at things this way, every contact is a chance to learn, grow, and keep your inner peace. You're not just protecting your peace, you're also guiding people who are lost in their own fantasies. This method doesn't just make them less able to control your feelings, it also shows them a way to understand you better and maybe even find out more about themselves. Go to treatment to help you grow as a person. Being around a narcissist can make you feel like you're stuck in a never-ending loop of bad feelings. But the real game changer isn't going up against someone, it's turning your attention inward, which is where your real power lies. Going to therapy is a quiet but very important step that can change your life. It's about getting the courage to look deep inside yourself and see the dark parts you've been afraid to see. Therapy is your battlefield, where you fight for your inner peace rather than against others. It's there that you realize the search for approval from other people is a dream in the desert of self-doubt. Finding the courage to go to therapy is like finding a secret door to growth within yourself. It's not about changing other people, especially narcissists, whose deeds you can't stop. Instead, your attention moves to your inner environment, which is the only place you really control. Not exactly these words, but the idea is that Seneca once thought that power is not having everything, but appreciating what we have and making good use of it. This wisdom leads us through treatment, where realizing that our problems are only brief makes the way to self-improvement clearer. It's a brave move that requires us to face our weaknesses and turn them into strengths. It's a process of unlearning the ideas that kept us stuck in bad patterns and regaining our freedom. Here, we write our story not as someone else's story, but as our own story, shaped by our values, interests, and happiness. Building a wall of self-worth that no outside force can breach is a testament to our resilience and the changing power of self-reflection. As we begin this journey of healing and self-discovery, we announce our freedom from the stories that have been told about us. By taking charge of our lives, we can make them fit with our core values. This trip is full of hope. It's a lighthouse that leads us back to our true selves, who are still strong and full of life after all the hard times. In therapy, we follow the Stoic idea that our best freedom is within us. The freedom to choose how to react, to find inner peace, and to live a life that is true to who we are. This road is a strong statement that we can heal, grow, and do well, no matter what obstacles lie ahead. Please give a thumbs up if you think you have learned something useful so far. Let's talk about the next plan now. Keep your mental space safe by controlling how you respond. Protecting your mind from a narcissist's chaos is like learning how to stay calm when there's a storm going on. It makes them feel powerful to see you lose control, which is what they live for. But here's a secret weapon. You can pick how to react. Choose not to be hurt, and you won't feel hurt, Marcus Aurelius said. You haven't been hurt, so don't feel hurt. Take this into account as you face the attack. Just think about this for a moment, picking your answer and keeping your peace. Their best curveballs, threats, tricks, and everything else are being thrown at them. Yet, here you are, strong and not moving in the wind, something like seeing waves hit a cliff. While you are aware that they are there, they don't have the power to disturb your peace. This is the core of being able to control your responses. You don't have to hold your thoughts inside or act like they don't exist. It's about being aware of those feelings, taking a step back, and choosing not to let them make you happy by seeing you upset. Imagine that you are in the calm center of a storm, where nothing can shake you while everything else spins around you. That's the power of being able to control your responses. It's like being a chess master in a world that never stops spinning with this plan. When a narcissist tries to checkmate you with drama, you change your strategy and pick your moves very carefully. There needs to be space between what you do and what you respond to it. It's not the quick response that makes you strong, but the pause that says, "I see you, but I don't play by your rules." You can feel safe and clear in this moment of pause, when you decide that someone else's chaos is too much to bear for your own peace. So how are you going to make this happen? Mindfulness and a little stubbornness are recommended. Think of thought as a right, not just a job, like the Stoics do. Use it as your daily protest against the noise. When you choose to react with calmness and distance, you're not only protecting your mental space, you're also making it better. You're showing that you are the only one who can change your inner world. Indeed, that is not only strong, it frees us. Realizing that the chaos outside can't change the calm inside is part of stepping into our power. We've gone over strategies today that will not only help you understand how narcissists work, but will also give you the resilience to fight back when they try to upend your peace. Your roots are strong and self-aware, like a tree standing strong in the wind. The winds of influence can't move them. It's not enough to just survive on your path to keeping calm in the middle of chaos. You want to thrive. You're setting yourself up for a life where inner peace is unavoidable by following these rules. This is a sign of your growth and wisdom. We all go through pain and suffering at different times in our lives. We all have to deal with it. It's part of being human and brings us together. No one wants to go through the sadness of losing someone, the pain of being sick, the sting of being rejected, the weight of doubt, and the bitter taste of failure. Even though we might want to avoid them, they are an important part of our lives. Here are 10 strong lessons that will help you deal with pain and suffering. Let's get right to it. Lesson 1. Tell the difference between things you can control and things you can't. According to the main ideas of Stoicism, there is a clear separation between what we can manage and what we can't. This main idea, called the dichotomy of control, is what the Stoic way of life is based on. Epictetus, one of the most important Stoic philosophers, said it best: "Wish that everything happens the way it does, and you will have a calm and happy life." Later, this idea would be echoed in the famous Serenity Prayer, which is often linked to recovery groups like Alcoholics Anonymous. The duality of control is realizing that we have control over some parts of our lives, like our thoughts, actions, and decisions, but not over other parts, like outside events, other people's actions, and the randomness of fate. The lesson tells us to think about ourselves and make decisions based on what we know. We need to ask ourselves, what parts of pain, sorrow, or sickness can we change, and what parts can't? We can free ourselves from the stress and anger that come from trying to control things that we can't change by accepting this split. Separate value judgments from feelings is the second lesson. The Stoics give us a deep look into how to deal with the rough seas of pain and suffering, the difference between our feelings and the decisions we make about them. Think about how painful it is to lose someone, be sick, be afraid of being rejected, be unsure, or fail. There's no question that these feelings are unpleasant, and no one would choose to feel them. But the Stoics teach us that our feelings don't really show what kind of person we are or how much we're worth. The more important thing is how we react to them. Marcus Aurelius said it best: "In all the things that may happen to us in life, it is not the things themselves that bother us, but our judgments about them." This sums up the Stoic viewpoint. In the end, the suffering, pain, and illness we go through can't make us better or worse people. In that way, they are neutral. How we handle these problems shows what kind of person we are. Do we give in to our negative thoughts and let pain and sadness consume us? Or do we face these difficulties with resilience, honor, and wisdom? Realizing that our worth as people is not based on the fact that we are in pain and suffering, but on how well we deal with them, gives us a powerful tool for getting through life's challenges. The effects of acceptance. Lesson 3. People who are in pain and suffering have two choices. They can fight back or accept what is happening. The Stoics stress how important it is to choose acceptance as a better and healthier way of thinking. Think about what will happen if you don't give in. When we try to fight the pain, suffering, or sickness that life gives us, it makes our mental pain worse. It's like swimming against a stream that won't let up. We wear ourselves out more the more we fight. Acceptance, on the other hand, helps us get through these rough seas more easily. Actively realizing what we can't change is what it means, not passively giving up. It means realizing that pain and suffering are not terrible, even though they are unpleasant. Epictetus said, "We are disturbed not by events, but by the views which we take of them." The Stoic view tells us to think this way. Think about how much stress we can ease when we choose acceptance over resistance. By changing how we think about pain and suffering, we can get rid of extra layers of suffering and face these problems with peace. It's not about ignoring that pain exists. It's about picking a better way to deal with it. Accept the process of letting go in Lesson 4. The Stoics said that life was like a dog tied to a moving car. When the dog tries to fight against the car's constant motion, it will be dragged along, hurting itself as it holds tightly to the ground. When Epictetus told us to make the best of what is in our power and take the rest as it occurs, he used this comparison very well. When you are in pain, suffering, or ill, Stoic advice is clear. Let go of your inner fight and accept things as they are. This doesn't mean we're smug or uncaring. It means we're changing how we deal with problems in a big way. Think about how pain and suffering make you feel physically or emotionally. We make our own pain worse when we fight these feelings. However, when we accept them as normal parts of being human, we stop adding more pain by making negative value judgments about them. According to Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosophy says, "The mind is the ruler of the soul. It should remain unshaken by the agitations of the flesh, gentle and violent ones alike." This practice fits with this philosophy. The Stoic way tells us to accept pain, whether it's physical or mental, and not let our thoughts get caught up in what's good or bad. We can handle the problems of pain and suffering with more serenity by letting go of the inner battle. Lesson 5. How to deal with the hard things in life. When we're going through hard times, our mental pain often comes from a mismatch between how well we think we can handle things and how bad we think the threat is. Our worry levels rise when we think we don't have the tools to handle a problem. The Stoics give us a good way to improve how we deal with things. They make us think about two important things. First, what gifts and virtues does nature give us that can help us deal with the problems we face in life? No matter who you are, you have natural strengths like courage, resilience, wisdom, and patience. These traits are like inner tanks that give us the strength to deal with problems with grace. Second, how would a person we look up to handle this issue? In people who have shown strength of character in the face of hardship, we can find wisdom and direction. Marcus Aurelius, for example, learned from people like Apollonius, the Stoic teacher, who was independent, dependable, and strong even when they were in a lot of pain. We can also use our own experiences and think about how we overcame similar problems in the past. Remembering the wins we've had in the past boosts our confidence and faith in our ability to handle things. At the end of the day, these Stoic ways of dealing with stress, pain, and illness are very helpful. We can face life's challenges with resilience and courage. If we can identify what is within our control, separate our feelings from our value judgments, choose acceptance over resistance, enjoy the act of letting go, and look for motivation in other people and our own past. Lesson 6. Accept the limits of your pain. As Stoics try to help us deal with pain and suffering, they push us to face a deep truth: the bounds of pain. Marcus Aurelius rightly said, "The pain is neither unbearable nor unending, as long as you keep in mind its limits and don't magnify them in your imagination." To accept the boundaries of pain is to realize that even though pain, suffering, and illness are real parts of life, they don't control us. Their presence does not define our whole lives, nor do they have the power to keep our lives in darkness forever. The Stoics say that we should face pain with clarity and calmness, and not let our thoughts make it bigger or last longer than it really is. Pain can look like a lot of different things, from physical discomfort to mental suffering. But how we think about and judge pain can make it worse. Picture pain as a storm that comes and goes, strong but short-lived. With this viewpoint, we have more resilience to withstand the storm. When we know that pain has its limits, we can break free from fear and hopelessness because we know that it will go away soon, making room for better days. In a deep sense, accepting the bounds of pain is an act of great wisdom. It helps us deal with pain by reminding us that it is not the end of the world, just a temporary part of our journey. This Stoic lesson gives us the strength to find comfort in the fact that pain doesn't last forever and to face it with grace and bravery. Embrace the virtues, the seventh lesson. Pursuing values as the way to a happy life is at the heart of the Stoic thought. We need to work on qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation in order to deal with pain and sorrow. Stoics thought that being good was the only way to be truly happy. By having these traits, we not only improve ourselves, but we also make the world a better place. Not only is it about growing as a person, it's also about being a light in other people's lives. When the Stoics did self-examination, they often thought about what they did and what they chose. Their ability to live in accordance with the ideals they held dear was made possible by their self-awareness. They were committed to becoming the best versions of themselves and were always working to improve themselves. To put it simply, Stoicism tells us that seeking values is a good thing to do. We can find strength, purpose, and resilience in the face of pain by accepting these traits. When we are going through hard times, the values we have worked on become our compass. The Stoic lesson that we should embrace the ideals helps us find our way through life's many challenges. It points us in the direction of a life of wisdom, bravery, fairness, and moderation. By showing these traits, we not only find comfort in hard times, but we also make the world a better place. Eighth lesson: show compassion and empathy. The Stoics tell us to feel kindness for others in order to deal with pain and sorrow. The idea behind this lesson, which is cosmopolitanism, is to show respect for other people. Stoicism tells us that we are all linked by the human spirit. By putting ourselves in other people's shoes, we increase our kindness, which makes our own pain go away. Being deeply aware of how our health and the health of others are connected is a powerful realization. The Stoics had philanthropy, which means they cared about other people. They thought that helping others would not only make the world a better place, but it would also give our lives direction and satisfaction. Giving someone a hand is a gift not only to them, but also to us. By showing understanding and kindness, we turn pain and suffering from separate loads into shared experiences. We bring comfort not only to ourselves, but also to everyone else. We find comfort in knowing that our deeds have meaning and effect when we want to ease the pain of others. Lesson 9. Try to get wise and better yourself. The Stoics were strong supporters of learning and wisdom as ways to deal with pain and suffering. They thought that learning new things and getting better at yourself were powerful ways to deal with life's problems. Stoicism says that wisdom is the most important thing for living a good life. We gain the tools to deal with pain with insight and grace when we seek information and self-improvement. You realize that your ability to change and grow is one of your best weapons against life's challenges. What the Stoics did was called journaling, which meant writing down every day what they were thinking and doing. By thinking about themselves, they were able to find ways to improve and keep track of their success. They were trying to become more self-aware and live their lives in line with their values. Stoicism is basically about how wisdom can help us find our way through the darkness of pain. We prepare ourselves to handle life's trials with resilience and grace by seeking information and self-improvement. The Stoic lesson tells us not to stay the same, but to start the path of always getting better. 10th lesson: accept that you will die. Facing the fact that we will die is one of the most important things Stoics can teach us about how to deal with pain and sorrow. The Stoics say that we should think about how short our lives are, which is called memento mori. At first glance, this thought may seem sad, but its purpose is to push us to enjoy the time we have left. The Stoics knew that our time on earth is limited. Knowing this gives us a reason to live a good life to the fullest. This is a warning that life is short and each moment is valuable. Thinking about how short our lives are helps us understand how much pain and suffering we are going through. We can ask ourselves, is this worth my valuable time and energy? When we are going through hard times, in the big picture of my life, does this matter? A lot of the time, this helps us figure out what needs our full attention and what can be left behind. Also, realizing that we will die makes us value our relationships and the time we spend with our loved ones more. It makes us remember to show our love and appreciation while we still can. Death is not seen as something scary in Stoicism. It is seen as a normal part of life. When we accept that we will die, we are better able to deal with the pain of loss, the fear of death, and the psychological suffering that we often feel. Adopting the Stoic lesson of accepting death changes how we deal with pain in the end. It changes our attention from the temporary to the permanent, from the unimportant to the important. Keeping our death in mind gives us a stronger sense of purpose and direction as we go through life's difficulties. It's important to remember this, especially when you're in a relationship. Never love anyone who treats you like you're ordinary. For people we love, we often go the extra mile and pour our hearts into making them happy. Still, sometimes our attempts are ignored. They may not appreciate our kindness and act nice when they need us, but cold when they've got what they want, like a ghost going away as the sun goes down. So, how do you change things and get in charge? If you avoid these 11 major mistakes, you'll see a big difference in how you deal with others. Welcome to Stoic in Your Life, a show about how to get along with other people. As we go through life, there are times when our views and ideals are put to the test, especially when we deal with other people. But this is especially true when it comes to partnerships, where finding the right balance between giving in and understanding is very important. But there is a big difference between making compromises that are good for us and letting our core values slip away. Now we'll talk about a very important point: how important it is to stay true to your values and views when you're with women or anyone else. Imagine that trying to change your core views to match someone else's is like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It's not only not normal, but it can't last. Your views and values are like a guide. They help you find your way through the maze of life's decisions and problems. The things that make you who you are at your core are like the foundation on which your character is built. We find a resonant truth in the wisdom of Stoic thought, especially in what Epictetus taught. The wise man Epictetus, whose mind was like a Stoic's, famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This profound statement shows how important it is to listen to others, understand their points of view, and accept their beliefs. But it also tells us in a subtle way to speak up, be strong in our beliefs, and make sure that our beliefs aren't lost in the noise of other people's views. When the other person in a relationship wants you to give up your core values, that's a huge red flag that you're not compatible. In its best form, a relationship is a safe place where people with different views and values are not only accepted, but also honored and taken into account. Both souls are happy and content with their own set of beliefs. They can live together without trying to control or change the other. No, your morals are not just a matter of luck. They are what makes you who you are and the stars that guide your morals. In other words, giving in on these would mean giving up a piece of your personality. Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic philosopher, said, "He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe." When we break our own rules, we upset this harmony. Each opinion and value we hold is like a thread in the big fabric of life. It all weaves together to make up our unique personality. If you change these threads, the beautiful pattern that is truly ours could be ruined. Remember that losing yourself is too high a price to pay for love or friendship. If you're in the right relationship, it won't ask you to change who you are at your core. Instead, it will love and accept you as you are. If you want to find your way through relationships, let your values be your base and your ideas be your tools. Always remember who you are. Listen with understanding and talk with force. When you stay true to yourself, you attract people who like you for who you are, and the two of you make a song of individuality that works well together. Let your trials not be the loss of your values, but the strengthening of them as you go through life with a calm mind and a resilient spirit, in the words of Seneca, another Stoic leader. It's important to remember that in relationships, it's just as important to stick to your own goals and dreams as it is to help your partner reach theirs. Getting around with this idea is like steering a ship against the wind. Consistently putting your partner's goals ahead of your own is hard work that doesn't pay off in the end. You're letting go of your dreams and leaving them to float in a sea of neglect. An ancient Stoic philosopher named Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." This powerful quote shows how important your dreams and goals are to who you are. Giving up these things for someone else's mental health is like giving up a part of yourself. It is important to support your own goals with the same passion and commitment that you would show for your partner's. Your dreams aren't just idle thoughts. They're the stars that will guide you through life and show you how your future will unfold. You should pay attention to and work with them. Balance is important here, a good mix of helping each other and growing as a person. When you back each other's goals, you build a relationship that is both caring and strong. Supporting someone else should never mean giving up on your own goals, though. Now, think about the story of a sailor who loves the sea and wants to see faraway places. They fall in love, though, and they want to live their life in one place. He might make his partner happy if he gives up his dream and stays on land, but it will cost him his own happiness. He might be looking out at the sea years from now and wonder what adventures he missed. This story shows us that giving in to others' wants is a normal part of relationships, but it doesn't mean giving up all of our hopes and dreams. The lesson here is clear. Supporting your partner's dreams is a good thing to do, but it shouldn't mean giving up on your own. Your goals are an important part of who you are and play a big role in your personal growth and happiness. Find a balance so that both people's dreams are supported and cared for. This way of doing things not only makes you happy, but it also makes your relationship better and more helpful. Keep in mind that it's important to sail together in life, but it's also important to stay on your own path. Think about it this way. You're on a trip through life, and every event, especially the hard ones, changes you. Imagine telling someone about every part of this journey, especially the hardest parts. It's like letting everyone know every secret part of your life story. These things, especially the hard ones, have a lot of meaning for me. They are the fires that have made you who you are. They are not just stories for other people to read or judge. A very smart person named Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "When we're weak, old ideas we've beaten come back to challenge us." This is a very important thing to remember in this situation. When you tell everyone all of your secrets from the past, You're basically opening up old wounds and calling back monsters from the past. It's like being back on the battlefield, open to the arrows of hurt and trickery. Your armor is these secrets and parts of your life. They're more than just stories. They're lessons learned, fights fought, and wins won. If you share them with anyone, you could give your shield to someone else. It's important to be careful on this road and share only what you think is necessary. Make sure you keep the most important parts of your story safe. They are what have made you strong and resilient. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "He who does not wish to be vulnerable must not expose himself." Your life story is a holy story full of your successes and lessons. It's not a story that other people can enjoy or criticize for fun. Finding a balance between being open and protecting yourself is important in life, especially in relationships. Sharing can help people bond, but sharing without thinking can put people at risk and cause harm. Don't forget that your past, your battles, and your wins are your own. They are not tickets to be entertained or judged by someone else. These are the parts that make up your unique story, which you can keep to yourself or share with others as you see fit. So, remember to take care of your inner refuge as you go through the ups and downs of life and relationships. Tell people your story, but keep it safe. Let the things you've been through lead you, make you strong, and protect you. Being kind to yourself and the path that made you the person you are today is something you respect then. For guys between the ages of 30 and 65, one of the most important lessons in life is that you should never change the core of your life to fit someone else's standards. This is like trying to fit into shoes that are way too small. Doing something like that will only make things worse and is completely pointless. Every step you take to try to follow someone else's path takes you away from your own unique trip. By doing that, you unintentionally slow down and make it harder to see your personal goals. He wisely pointed out that trying to be everywhere at once is really just being nowhere at all, in reference to the Stoic philosopher Seneca's wisdom. This hits home very deeply when you feel like you're always trying to live up to other people's standards, which makes you lose your own identity. It's like a rainbow losing its bright colors and becoming one with the sky. Take joy in being yourself and letting your real colors show through. Making changes to your life to fit into someone else's story is a road full of compromise and unhappiness. It's important to remember that your life is not a set of things you have to give up for other people. Remember that you wrote your own story, and it should be told the way it was meant to be told. You don't have to change to fit into someone else's world. You have to make your own way, accept yourself as you are, and live a life that is in line with your core values and goals. It's more important than ever to follow this advice in our fast-paced world, where social forces often tell us what to do. Relationships and exchanges with other people should be an extension of who you really are, not a show made to fit other people's needs. Remember that honesty and self-respect lead to the deepest respect and real relationships. According to Seneca, it's not that our lives are short, but that we waste too much of it. Think of time as your most valuable resource, a gift that you can't get back once you've spent it. Putting all of your time and energy into someone else is like throwing your important hours into a deep hole. Every moment you spend too much time thinking about someone else is a moment you lose forever in your own life. This doesn't mean that spending time on relationships is pointless. It just means that you need to be smart about how you use this valuable resource. Stoicism teaches us how important it is to know ourselves and keep things in balance in our relationships. This means that you should know how valuable your time is and not let other people's needs take it away. In order to find a balance, you can't lose yourself in the process of making other people happy. Your goals should show in how you spend your time, with personal growth, happiness, and satisfaction being the most important things to you. To live by this concept, you need to take back your time and realize that it's yours, not someone else's. To do this, don't stop caring or being interested. Instead, work on building a good connection where your time is recognized and valued. Take part in things that make your life better, help you grow, and make you happy, like learning a new skill, following a hobby, or just taking a moment to be alone. These are the events that make up your life's worth. The main lesson here is that you need to take charge of your own time. It's a reminder to be careful with your most valuable object and make sure it's spent in ways that are important to you. You will not only make your own life better, but you will also show others how to value and respect your time. Don't forget that time is the picture that tells the story of your life. Make sure it's a beauty that shows who you really are. Don't push your friends and family away for someone else. This is especially important when it comes to relationships. Imagine that your life is a strong tree, and each friend and family member is an important part. These parts have grown with you and are there to help and support you. It's like cutting off one by one of these supporting stems if you start to distance yourself from them out of an obsession with a new relationship. By pulling away, you not only lose friends, but you also break up your most important support network. Think about what Plato said. People are like soil. They can either help you grow or stop your growth and cause you to wither. If you cut yourself off from your loved ones to please someone else, you're taking a dangerous step that may do more harm than good. Consider Seneca's advice. True happiness is to enjoy the present without worrying about the future, in the spirit of Stoicism. This wisdom tells us to value and keep the relationships we have right now, such as those with family and friends. These ties are what hold your life together, giving you love and support. These relationships are important to keep up because they have been there for you through many changes in your life. So, make an effort to get back in touch with the people who are important to you. Take the same amount of time and care with your network of support as you would with a plant you love. In a way, your family and friends are like the roots that hold you up. They're not just leaves on a tree. Keep in touch with the people who have always been there for you. This will help your life stay healthy and full, even as new relationships form. This way of thinking not only fits with the problems people face today, but it also gives timeless advice on how to stay in balance on your own path. Do not put on a mask that makes it hard to breathe just to comfort someone else. This is the same as agreeing to do things you hate, which goes against your true tastes and essence. It's like you're covering up your favorite colors with ugly ones. To be truly happy, don't worry too much about other people, Albert Camus wisely said. Giving in to outside forces instead of following your heart makes you angry and lowers your self-esteem. Therefore, take off that mask, fight the urge to always say yes, and learn the power of saying no when you have bad options. Being real and sincere in the choices you make is important because your life isn't a play meant to please people. Don't do something that makes you feel bad. Make your own road, not one that other people tell you to take. Remember that you are the main character in your own story, not just a supporting character in someone else's. Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This shows how important it is to listen to your inner voice and live a life that fits with who you are, not just what other people want. These words of wisdom are even more important now that outside effects are so common. Pay attention to your inner Stoic guide and let your deeds show who you really are, not what other people want you to do. We'll talk about an important part of personal well-being that is especially relevant when it comes to relationships: how to protect your mental health and happiness. Putting someone else's mental health ahead of your own is like setting your house on fire to keep them warm. It's a harmful action that doesn't make sense. As you row hard to reach someone else's beach of happiness, the shore of your own happiness fades into the distance. When you put someone else's happiness before your own, this is what happens. Through no fault of your own, you give them control of your happiness. But what happens? You try to make them happy while your own cup is still empty. It's time to take a moment to breathe, step back, and take back control of your life. Your happiness and mental health are precious gifts that you should not use as buying chips in the relationship market. Don't forget that you are the main player in your own life story, not someone else's. Be as careful with your peace and happiness as a skilled fighter. Develop your mental toughness like a castle that can't be broken into from the outside. No matter who they are, don't let anyone take away your happiness. You are the master of your own thoughts. You are not someone else's stepping stone. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." Use this Stoic wisdom in your relationships. Choose to react with self-care and respect. Decide to put your mental health first. Not only will this improve your own health, but it will also help you build relationships that are better and more balanced. Remember that you are the only one who can make your way through life. People can walk with you, but no one can do it for you. Accept that you are the main player in your own story. Take as much care of your mental health and happiness as you would with your most valuable belongings. Because in the end, these are the things that make your life's journey great. It's important to keep a balance between taking care of others and taking care of yourself when it comes to relationships and personal growth. The second principle shows this idea very clearly. Don't ruin your life by being too obsessed with someone. Imagine that your life is a space rock in the vast universe of events. As soon as you become too interested in someone, it's like turning into a star and always moving around them. You might lose sight of your own path and dreams if you keep focusing on this one thing. Your unique character starts to fade because you care too much about what they want and need. It's like giving all the water you need to live to someone else while you stand there thirsty and ignored. Stoic teacher Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are at peace with yourself, you are at peace with the world." This deep understanding shows how important it is to be balanced inside. This balance can be upset by putting too much stress on another person, which can cause a loss of self-worth and independence. You run the risk of becoming nothing more than a shadow, forced to follow their rules and losing touch with what makes you unique. To stay away from this trap, you need to leave their area of influence, stop being a moon orbiting their planet, and instead light up your inner sun, making your own bright path. Remember that your life is not a supporting character in someone else's story. You are the main character of your own story and deserve a plot where you shine. Now think about the story of Icarus, who wanted to fly so badly that he forgot about his own health, which caused him to fall. This story is a powerful warning of how dangerous it is to lose yourself in the chase of other people. In the end, it's clear what the lesson is. Put your own journey and health first. It's good to think about other people, but it shouldn't mean giving up your own goals and sense of self. Believe that you are the most important person in your own story and let your unique light shine brightly. This balance is important for both your own happiness and for making sure that your relationships are healthy and fair. At many points in our lives, we have to make decisions that determine our future. The choice of friendship is one of these important choices, especially when it comes to interactions with women. It's important to remember that these decisions should never be based on fear of being alone. If we let fear lead us into unknown and often unwanted territory, this idea is like going through life without a plan. An ancient Greek philosopher once said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." This timeless idea inspires us to start a journey of self-discovery and self-appreciation. We get clear and strong enough to make choices that are in line with who we really are when we're by ourselves. When we take the time to think about ourselves, we realize how important we are to our lives. When we let fear, especially the fear of being alone, control our decisions, we might settle for relationships that don't match our values or goals. The same way, a ship that sets sail without a goal is open to the winds and waves. Adopting silence, on the other hand, can be a powerful experience that helps us build a relationship with ourselves that is both rich and insightful. This concept is very important when talking about Stoicism. Stoicism tells us to pay attention to the things we can change, like our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. When we apply this to our relationships, it's clear that looking for a friend out of fear means giving up power. Giving up is more of a response to outside situations than a statement of our inner power and wisdom. Think of the gardener as a metaphor who takes care of a yard. If the farmer plants seeds out of fear, maybe of an empty garden or of what other people will think, the garden might not show what he really wants or what he is capable of. But if the farmer plants seeds that speak to his soul and cares for them with love and care, the garden will become a mirror of his inner world and a peaceful and beautiful place for him to be. In the same way, picking a partner for a relationship shouldn't be driven by fear of being alone. It should be about adding beauty and value to our life's yard. There was once a traveler who, because he was afraid of being alone, always looked for someone to travel with. He met many people, some of whom led him wrong and others who made him feel down. He didn't find his true path, which was full of self-awareness and purpose, until he went on a trip by himself. He learned more on this trip by himself than on any other trip with other people. That experience taught him how important it is to enjoy his own company and pick friends who add to his life instead of filling a void. In the end, the lesson is both deep and easy to understand. Enjoy your own company and choose relationships based on how they will add value, not how they will scare you. Accept that being alone can help you grow and learn about yourself. If you do decide to share your trip with someone, do it because they will light the way, not because you're afraid of being alone. This way of dealing with things not only makes relationships better, it also fits with the Stoic idea that we should focus on what we can control, like the choices we make and how we react to our fears. Remember that there are plant seeds in the yard of life that will help you grow into your true self. Watch as your world grows full of joy and truthfulness. Men often put their own wins on the back burner in order to fit in with society's standards or make other people happy. This seemingly small mistake can have big effects on how someone sees themselves and their confidence. Take a look at this through a lens that is easier to understand. Picture yourself climbing a rock. No matter how small, each step brings you closer to the top. Now, if you only look at the top and ignore the smaller steps along the way, the trip seems impossible and your success seems unimportant. And by recognizing each step, you not only value the trip, you also value your own power and resilience. This is like our journey through life, where each small victory is a step toward our bigger goals. Epictetus, a sage of Stoicism, said that our goal should be to find respect within ourselves, not just from others. This piece of wisdom has a lot to do with our subject. It's about changing the attention from getting approval from other people to getting approval from yourself. You're not just giving yourself a pat on the back when you take the time to recognize your own efforts and successes. You're building self-respect and confidence. This party inside you is a reminder of your journey, your challenges, and your determination. Celebrating your progress isn't just a way to feel good about yourself, it's also a way to remind yourself of how important your trip is. Your successes are unique to you, even if they don't seem important in the big picture. Because of your attitude, hard work, and resolve, they are what you have. When you celebrate these accomplishments, you're not only praising the result, but also the traits and values that helped you get there. When it comes to dealing with women, this concept is especially important. Showing that you care about your own journey and attempts is what it's all about. This kind of self-appreciation is not only beautiful, but it also builds respect and love between people. It's about being a man who knows his own worth and can also value and honor the journey of others. As you go through life, don't forget to stop and enjoy your wins, no matter how big or small they are. Let these events remind you of what you can do and give you energy for what you want to do next. Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic philosopher, said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who did the wrong." In this case, it means stepping above the social standard of always comparing yourself to others and seeking approval from others, and instead finding strength and pride in your own accomplishments. Your journey, with all of its unique risks and successes, forms who you are today. Accept it and be proud of it. Let it give you and the people you deal with power and motivation. In the big picture of life, it's important to remember that the trip isn't just about getting somewhere, it's also about enjoying each step along the way. It reminds me of the Stoic philosophy, which says that people should make their own decisions and live in agreement with their true nature. Epictetus, a famous Stoic philosopher, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This tells us that our happiness and peace come from inside, not from outside situations or other people's approval. You have the inner strength and wisdom to make choices that are right for you, even if they are different from what other people expect. It's important to grow qualities like wisdom, courage, fairness, and self-control as you go through life. These are the things that make a life worth living, not how well you meet someone else's needs or standards. Remember that you have the freedom to make your own way, to be proud of who you are, and to write your own story based on your ideals and beliefs. You don't have to give up your values or your health to make other people happy. Instead, take ownership for your life and make decisions that reflect who you really are. Since the Stoics thought that our ideas and deeds are under our control, they said that real freedom comes from within. Remember that you have the power to choose something different when you feel like giving in, giving up your time, or sharing things that are outside of your comfort zone. Your life doesn't have to follow someone else's plan. You can make your own based on what's important to you. As you reach the end of this guide, reflect on how your perception of life's challenges and opportunities has shifted. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy to understand, it's a practice to live by. The journey you've embarked on by integrating these principles into your daily life is profound and transformative. Remember, the true power of Stoicism unfolds through repetition and real-life application. By consistently reminding yourself of these teachings, you anchor them deeper within your being, allowing them to become second nature. You started this guide with questions that touched your heart, and hopefully, now you find yourself equipped with wisdom that not only answers those questions, but also empowers you to face life with a new lens. This isn't the end, but a beginning. A beginning to a life where challenges are viewed as opportunities for growth, and happiness is found in acceptance and virtue. You are in the right place if you seek transformation. Let this guide be a beacon, illuminating the path to a life lived with purpose, resilience, and tranquility. Carry these teachings with you, for they have the potential to change your life forever. Remember, the journey of Stoicism is ongoing, and every moment is an opportunity to practice, learn, and grow.